guys, welcome to my channel, Kathy. And today we're going to be talking about Hailie Jade and her podcast, Just a Little Shady, and all the, well, not only her podcast, because she also does it on TikTok. Ever since she took over social media as a full grown woman, independent on her own, we have been finding bits and pieces here and there about Eminem, little by little, and also be able to tell about her, who she became, the little girl that we all listened to on Mockingbird and that we all love and adore through her dad. So now she's a full grown woman and she had her own podcast. It's called Just a Little Shady. Now, it doesn't tell me how many followers she has here, or maybe you guys can tell me how to find that out, but I don't know. I do know that on YouTube, she has 82,000, 3,000K subscriber. She has 82.3 thousand K subscribers. That's not bad starting off and, just people following her. Most likely we start like me, people started following her because of her dad. Those of us who listened to her dad from the old days, like me, I started listening to Eminem since Rock Bottom. That's the one when this song came out. My name is, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And I cannot say now, I cannot repeat what I said back then, but I was like, what is this? But when I listened to Rock Bottom, I was hooked. I was hooked because I related right away. I related with, having plastic plates, plastic silverware for at home for lunch and dinner. I related to a lot of that song. And then the other one that she has is her Instagram, where there she got 2.9 million followers, and her TikTok account, where she got 1.1 million followers. And we have also been able to find little bits and pieces here and there on TikTok about her life and, her dad. So, about the things that we found out through her, I'm going to do a little summary here. It's not going to be too long because the podcast hasn't been out for long. It has been out only for a short time. And besides, you can go ahead and follow her on YouTube. Here, follow her. You subscribe right there. Oh, let me give it a like. I forgot to give it a like. But just subscribe to all, and there you go. You have it. And you can watch it yourself. I'm going to try to keep updates if you're an Eminem fan and you're interested in finding out, because again, little bits and pieces come out about her dad and about that time that she was growing up. And who knows? Who knows what else can come out of this? Maybe she might invite her dad one time and you will miss out because you didn't subscribe to her channel. And by the way, she's not paying me. She doesn't know anything about this little channel. So the first thing we're going to talk about is that time that Eminem said in that song that afterwards became a beef. That song brought the beef with Jack Rule because Ja Rule came out and mentioned that little verses that came out in the last part of the song where Eminem says, before everything is said and done, I'll be 40, sitting uh, before I know it with a 40, sitting on my porch telling stories with a bottle of Jack Daniel and two kids on my lap, babysitting for Hailie while Hailie's out getting smashed. Well, nah, there's no babies, there's no getting smashed. I mean, she does drink here and there. She shows in her social media, her drinking margarita on her vacation. And she does talk at the podcast because she goes to these festivals like this one, the festival. And, they got like young people, what can I say, but not to the point of, that Eminem was describing or talking about, not to the point of addiction. And not only that, but she's a very, very good girl. Another part that we see that we should have known because Eminem says it in his song Bad Husband, Good Father, and the CD Revival. He talks about that, how people say he's such a good father. He was there for his daughter. And it shows, people. It shows. You got to see this now. She talks about how she doesn't have any tattoo, and her father, she has no tattoos, and she has been a good girl since sixth grade. But I'll let her tell you.
I kept it straight the entire
I feel
time.
like that's pretty common though too. Like I'm the same way. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally fine with it. Which honestly, I don't have any tattoos, but I feel like I probably would do really well with it
Yeah.
because as long as they know what you're up to, like it doesn't. The pain of it doesn't bother me. Like I just need to be able to watch
Be able
you.
to
Yeah.
understand what's going
But
on.
I felt so comfortable the whole time, and I feel like it was so worth it. So if you ever do one of those, it's definitely. I mean, we thought it helped. Every single one of us thought it helped, but
Mm-hmm.
also just fun fact. So they had a really expensive one that was called like
No tattoos. And we also find out that she has been a good girl since sixth grade, probably before that. And I'll say that because there's another thing that she talks about, another story that she talks about her dad and on a basketball game, the Detroit Pistons. But right now we're going to talk about this, where she mentions how from sixth grade she took school seriously and just such a good girl following the rules. So again, that prediction that Eminem made, now nothing happened like that. Contrary, excellent parenting, excellent parents, man. Parental goals.
I still for some reason in my 6th grade head
Yeah.
really took school seriously.
You were a good kid. Nothing wrong with that.
You were a good kid too. I
I
was just
was.
yeah, I
You
was
were
just
just following all the rules and thinking that your GPA in middle school counted
oh
towards
my
like
god.
getting into college or something. I feel like that's how seriously you took your
Oh,
grades.
I did. Because to be fair, like I believed anything adults said.
Yeah, like your permanent record, like that was just going to last like forever.
Forever.
You can tell right there that she was well taken care of, that she trusted her adults. She was shown love. I mean, anybody who grows up in an abusive family, you know right away that the last people that you trust are adults. At least that's how it was my household and my generation, most of us, Generation X, which includes her dad too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like I don't know. I mean, I definitely did take school way too
Yeah.
seriously. And even high school was kind of the same situation for us. Like we would talk in school and we were always like friends, but not we weren't hanging out outside of school anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, I was still taking school way too seriously. And at that time, I also didn't like drink or go to parties. Like I feel like normal everyone was doing that, but like I just didn't. I was so naive to
Yeah.
all of it. Like I, I remember going to a football game, and this was like the first and last one I went to. I remember going, and it was freezing cold outside. Everybody was just like jumping, screaming, having the time of their lives. And I'm like, am I missing something? Like, what
No.
what happened? Like, did something exciting happen? And then like one of my friends came up to me and talked like right on my face, and I was like, oh my god, you're drinking.
Absolutely appalled.
Literally so appalled. It like hit me right in that moment, and I was like, I've got to go.
I
Like
gotta go.
I thought that even being associated with like anyone there that was drinking, like I was gonna get in trouble. And then
Which she was right. That assumption is correct. If you're a minor and even an adult and teenagers are drinking, even if you're not drinking, you also get in trouble because you're with the mix. Now I don't know in Detroit. Maybe in Detroit they let them go, but some places like in Cali and in Florida, guilty by association because you were there too. So you were allowing that to happen. If you're an adult and if you're a teenager, well, you they can say you were providing and you were there, whatever. It's not a good situation. She was smart.
that's what's so weird about like I never got in trouble growing up. I also never did anything too, but like
No.
I was so scared. Like I don't know. I thought if I did anything wrong, I was like a terrible human. I don't know. And like not that those things are even wrong because like that's just what kids do in high school, but like I was just so like straight and
Straight and narrow.
yeah, like that was me. But once we got to college, we didn't go to the same college.
So the opposite of her dad. Way better than her dad and way better than her mom. Mission accomplished. That's what parents want, right? That the kids are better and have a better. Another thing that we have learned from her. Does she like people asking her about her dad? That's very common. So kids that are, celebrity kids, as soon as the people find out, the friends, the classmates, people that are in their surrounding, find out this is the daughter of so and so, this is the son of so and so, because even I was curious. I was working at a school and somebody told me that, what's this guy's name? Fat Joe's son was at that school. And of course I had to see what he looked like. So I asked, I asked around, they pointed and I went to see. And yeah, had a similarity. And apparently, yeah, he was the son of Fat Joe. So very, not that I asked him any question. I mean, it's a kid. Why am I going to come and ask him questions? Same thing with her. I mean, had I met her, it would have been like, turn around, girl. Because I mean, with the father that she has, it's just best to stay away. Don't ask her any question. But people still did, her classmate, her friends, I'm pretty sure in college more than anything, in high school too. Not when she was in elementary or middle school, I doubt it. But high school and in college, I'm pretty sure they were asking her left and right once they found out she was Hailie Jade, the famous Hailie Jade from Mockingbird.
Hailie, I know you miss your mom, and I know you miss your dad when I'm gone.
A good first question to answer, since a lot of questions were about my dad, the first question I feel like I should answer: does it bother me when I get asked about my dad? Because a lot of the questions were about my dad. So I feel like the best way to say this is yes and no. Which,
Clear answer.
super clear. Good ask me anything response. No, but honestly, it's to a point. So like, I obviously expect it, and there are certain things I can understand why people are just genuinely curious about,
Right.
as anyone would be when you've kind of grown up like half in the spotlight. But then once it gets past that point, though, I'm like, I'm a person too. I think I have more to offer than just my dad. So it becomes like tricky because like I get it, but then like I said, after a certain extent, I'm not going to speak on behalf of anyone. I'm not going to answer stuff that I don't specifically have the answers to. So, I mean, yeah, I guess yes and no.
Yeah.
Is that, I mean, is that a good response for
I think so. It makes sense to me.
Yeah, because I feel like growing up, when it would happen, I would get more bothered by it because I was like, why do people care? Like, I don't know, because I was young and I didn't totally understand the situation. And I'm
Right.
just like, that's my dad. Like, I don't ask you about your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain things that, yeah, like, that's just weird that you want to know that. But then, like, you know, things that have been a little bit shared, I understand why people are like, okay, is this true or whatever. But some stuff, it's just like, that's weird. Let's move on. Like, but yeah, so I guess that's our first like ask me anything, and then we'll continue answering questions.
So she doesn't mind people asking her about her dad, I guess, or people that are close to her. I don't know, co-workers, I guess, college, because who the hell is going to ask her unless they're not close to her? They're not her surrounding. I mean, there's always some crazy guy that might be yelling something. Hey, Haley, is it true that Eminem did this? Is it true about? But I mean, come on. But people that are close to her, that are in her surrounding, probably are asking her a question. So they should just like, and the people that follow her now who are going to send her questions should just ask, more questions about her and less questions about her dad. Even though she understands she's going to, they're going to ask her the question. It doesn't bother her, but she didn't say she's going to respond about those questions. So even though she has that, ask me anything, I'm pretty sure she's going to be selective about the questions that she's going to respond to, like she did with this one. So another thing that we learned about Hailie Jade is that her parents allowed her to be herself, you know. And I can imagine, I mean, that's something that we didn't know about, but we can only guess. We could guess that Eminem, coming from the background that he does, but now I don't know Kim. You know, she didn't say much about her life, except for what Eminem said in that interview that she had on 2020, I think. I think it was 2020 or Dateline. But the point is that, you know, I don't know. I thought that that's something that you would expect that a person like Eminem, for example, let's just take Eminem because that's the one that we know more about. That he followed his dream. He wanted to be a rapper against all odds. A man who said you can put your mind, you can accomplish anything you put your mind into it, man. On the song, you know, just a moment. These songs, these lifestyle that he had, where he comes from, and knowing that he was white and people were telling you, yo, man, you're not going to make this. You're not a black person. You're not a rapper. Give it up. How many times must he have heard that before? Plenty of time. And the odds were against him. And he overcame all that and became the genius, the famous person, the best, one of the best rapper, in my opinion, the best. But you know, I don't want to go into debates because I'm not black, so maybe for a lot of other people, he's not the best. But to me, he's the best rapper. And how's he gonna tell his own daughter, don't do this, don't do the other? So this is something that kind of was expected.
Yeah,
Let's see.
so
They
this.
let
You
her
were
be herself.
reckless. You were crazy. You
I
were
mean,
jumping on a trampoline.
I jumped on a trampoline. I was reckless.
Wild.
Um, Sometimes I do get upset that
About what?
my so like my parents would never force me to stay in a sport or do a sport. You know how some parents are very adamant, like, I want my kid to be a dancer,
Yes.
and they make them stay in dance for years and years.
Mhm.
My parents were very like, whatever you want to do, sweetheart. I'm like, and you know, at the time I was very thankful. But looking back, I do wish that they would have made me do some stuff.
Like what?
For example, I now, as an adult, get too scared to try or learn new, what I would consider dangerous activities.
Such as?
I cannot snowboard anymore or ski.
What do you mean?
So here's the thing. I can do it, but I get so scared. And I feel like it's one of those things where if you were a kid and I would have learned how to do it then, I wouldn't have been scared. So it would have been no problem. I see freaking 3-year-olds out there on skis.
Oh, yeah.
Or snowboards. I'm like, okay.
They're zooming down the slopes.
Sometimes they be sleeping too. They're just letting it go. And I'm like, okay. And then there's me pizzaing the whole way down, so scared that if I pick up 1 mile per hour, it's over. I'm going off the ledge. So I don't do it. And I get so scared now. It's like my frontal lobe's too developed now to allow myself to do these activities. And I wish I would have been forced to learn when I was younger. Because it's like riding a bike. It's like you weren't really that scared to do it. And it was something everybody did and you just did it and you learned. And now I can pick up a bike at any time and do it. And I feel like if that's the same thing with skiing or snowboarding. Like, once you learn how to do it when you're young, you could do it any time.
This comparison.
Kids are never happy. Kids are never satisfied. They let her be herself. They let her be herself. And who wouldn't kill to have parents like that? In that sense, I can relate because thank you. My parents were not like, you have to do this, you have to do the other. They let me be. We also learn about her privileged life, taking bus tours, going on tours all the time with her dad, that she was so used to always taking a tour bus that she thought it was typical of them to do this.
Went on a tour bus. You brought that
We
back up.
did. I was talking to you about this the other day, and I was like, do you remember back when I feel like I vividly remember being in your kitchen and you were like, do you want to come on the tour bus? And I was like,
Casual.
normal conversations. And I was like, what's a tour bus? And somebody was with us and they were like, Hailie Jade, like not everyone knows what a tour bus is. And you're like, what? Like, honestly, to you, like that was
I thought it was
somewhat normal. Yeah. Like, where was my dad's tour bus? Like,
So
I
yeah,
don't know
she
where
thought that she could do that, that everybody was going on tour. She thought it was something common that everybody did. We also learned about her going to the Piston game in Detroit and who took her to those games. Did Kim take her to those games? No, of course not. Who else? Eminem probably enjoying his rich life now, his millionaire life that he has front seat. The kid who probably couldn't even afford to go and see the Piston game. And if he did, probably was like most of us, all the way up there. And now he was sitting at the court side, watching the game from the basketball court.
and and I remembered that a few months ago, my dad brought up to me that we went to the Pistons game with just me and him and sat like on the court, which I did not remember. And he's like, "Yeah, I felt so bad because apparently this is the story." So we're sitting on the court, and when you're down there, there's a lot of people around, and people were trying to take pictures. But we had just gotten food and just sat down. So my dad was like, look down until I tell you to look back up until they stop taking pictures. So, back then, strict rule follower. So I have my hot dog in my lap. I'm just staring at my hot dog. And he forgets to tell me when it's okay to look up. So I stayed looking at my hot dog in my lap. He got distracted by the game and then finally looked over and realized, oh my God, I forgot to tell you could look up.
you missed half the game.
Apparently, I didn't really remember this, but apparently for him, it's a vivid memory because he felt so bad about it.
Poor thing. You probably felt awful.
So, yeah, that was one of the funny things that we were kind of talking about that we remembered going through the photos. And we also took some of those photos that we didn't.
Are you a Nicki fan?
What? Am I a Nicki fan? Pull up in the Sri Lanka. What? What?
Well, guys, if you like this video talking about, Hailie Jade and Eminem, let me know. Give it a like. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. This channel is going to be in English and it's going to be in Spanish. I got videos in Spanish in case you speak Spanish and you know some artists like Solitario or also Coolio, which I'm pretty sure you do know, and you want to see the little homage I did, go and check out that video and also leave a comment. Help my channel grow. Take care. Bye.